Christmas Eve has always felt like walking a tightrope for me. Smile just enough, nod in the right places, keep your hands busy so no one notices the way you're biting your tongue. But that year, the rope snapped. It snapped the moment my niece Piper ripped open the small clay snowman my daughter Mia had made and sneered like it was a joke, only she understood. Mia was 7, still glowing with that kind of innocent pride kids carry when they've poured their heart into something small and handmade. She had decorated a little paper bag herself and tucked that lopsided but perfect snowman inside like it was the moon she'd painted. She placed it under the tree, cheeks pink with excitement, and in return, she got cruelty. "Cheap stuff, as always," my father muttered, not even trying to lower his voice. My mother hummed her usual disappointment, the kind that weighed more than words. Lena laughed, practiced and sharp, while Tom leaned back in his chair, beer in hand, with a grin that reeked of old rivalry. The air in that room was heavy. I became a spectator to my own embarrassment. My daughter's tiny fingers curled around mine, and I squeezed back, silently promising her something I wasn't sure I could deliver. That night, while everyone else slept, I sat in the guest room they insisted we use, opened my laptop, and looked at the joint accounts I had been quietly keeping alive for years. Bills, groceries, the mortgage, they leaned on me like I was their private safety net. But something in me broke with Piper's sneer and my family's laughter. I wasn't going to let my daughter grow up thinking silence was strength. So, I froze their cards. I closed the emergency line of credit. I shut off the auto-pays that kept their world spinning. Not out of spite, but because I was done carrying the weight they pretended wasn't there. The next morning at exactly 7:22 a.m., the thunder struck. Tom and Lena were at the toy store, then the coffee shop, then the gas station, and every card was declined. The panic started small but echoed through the house like a bell no one could unring. Lena's face burned red at the clerk's words. Declined. My mother stormed in, phone in hand, fury boiling. "Did you mess with their accounts?" she demanded. For the first time, I looked straight at her without lowering my gaze. "Yes," I said, calm as ice. Then I helped Mia into her coat and we walked out the door without drama, quiet as a decision that had been a long time coming. As we walked around the block, the cold air stinging our cheeks, Mia's mittened hand in mine, she asked softly, "Why did she say my snowman was trash?" I didn't dress up the truth or invent excuses. "Because she was wrong," I told her simply, and we kept walking, step after step, until the sky above us stopped feeling like an audience and started feeling like a roof. When we came back, the house was humming with panic. My brother sat slumped on the couch, half smirking in defiance, while Lena screeched on the phone in the hallway. My parents tried to pretend nothing had happened, pancakes on the table, fake cheer in their voices. But I had already decided this wasn't going to be swept under the rug. I asked one question that turned the room cold. "Do you think Piper made that?" "Comment up herself." Silence. A mirror of guilt hung over them. So I told them the truth they'd worked hard to bury, that I'd been paying Tom's overdue bills, covering groceries, slipping money into an account he claimed was his, keeping the lights on when his paycheck didn't stretch. I told them I was done being their invisible backbone. And that was just the beginning. Days later, a school district called about unpaid tuition under my name. They emailed me the form, my name printed neatly, but the handwriting belonged to Lena, forged. I stared at the paper until my hands shook, then drove straight to the police station. This wasn't family business anymore. It was fraud. And this time, I pressed charges. The officer's questions were calm but firm, and I answered yes to all of them. Yes, I would cooperate. Yes, I wanted it investigated. Yes, I was ready to step out of the role of the quiet fixer. I thought that would be the worst of it, but then came the tax filing notice. Someone had already claimed my daughter Mia on their return. I logged in, heart racing, and there it was. Tom's name attached to the filing. He had stolen her social security number to get an early refund. That kind of theft doesn't just take money, it tries to rewrite ownership of the very people you love. I called my accountant, who went silent for a long beat before telling me exactly what to do. File an identity theft affidavit with the IRS. Send documents, school records, birth certificates, everything to prove Mia was mine. I did it all within days, filing complaints, building a paper trail so airtight no lie could slip through. At the same time, I hired a lawyer. She filed for cease and desist orders, had my name removed from every co-signed lease, every automatic payment, every account they had tied to me. Collections letters surfaced. Accounts I'd never opened, charges I'd never made. It was like peeling back a floorboard and finding years of rot hidden beneath. The hardest part wasn't the paperwork. It was the voicemails. Tom's voice cracked, panicked, desperate, begging for help, accusing me of destroying them. Guilt had always been their currency, but I wasn't buying it anymore. I saved one message, not as ammunition, but as a reminder of why I had to keep going. My lawyer was efficient and unflinching, guiding me through disputes, affidavits, and reports. The police opened investigations into the forged documents and tax fraud. The IRS flagged Tom's false filing. The collection agency put my case under review. For the first time in years, I felt clarity instead of dread. But revenge wasn't only in the courtroom or the paperwork. It was also in the small, bright choices I made for Mia and myself. One gray Wednesday, we packed a bag and drove to a tiny cabin with a wood stove and a view of endless pines. We cooked pasta, read stories by flashlight, hung purple lights in a crooked line, and watched them as if we'd invented our own stars. Mia found rocks and named them treasures. She named a plush deer Biscuit and announced it was part of our family now. For the first time in a long time, I breathed without listening for footsteps behind me. When we came home, progress had been made. The co-signed lease was dissolved, accounts were closed, fraudulent charges were under investigation, and the IRS had officially removed Mia from Tom's stolen claim. My phone still lit up with angry texts from Lena, pleading calls from my mother about family loyalty, but I didn't respond. I had finally unlearned the dangerous idea that silence is nobility. Silence, I realized, is often just permission. Then one day, a plain envelope arrived. Inside was a letter from Piper, written in shaky, childlike handwriting. She said she missed Mia, remembered the grilled cheese we used to make together, and asked if Mia could come for a sleepover. I cried when I read it, not because I wanted the old life back, but because I could see her confusion. She had been taught cruelty, but underneath, she was still a child who just wanted her cousin back. I folded the letter and tucked it away. I wasn't making a decision about forgiveness that day. I was making a decision about protection. Adults had choices to make. Children deserved better than to be used as messengers of cruelty. By the end of January, the legal battles were mostly settled. My lawyer handed me documents that said clearly, I was no longer liable. Fraudulent accounts closed, forged signatures documented, identity theft reported and secured. The IRS flagged Tom, not me. Civil damages were possible, she said, but I didn't want trophies. What I wanted was peace, and peace is what I got. People expected fireworks, some grand showdown, some emotional reconciliation. But what came instead was silence. And silence, this time, was freedom. Months went by without calls, without demands, without manipulation. Just quiet, just room to build new traditions. So we did. Mia and I strung lights in April. We made pancakes for dinner every Friday. We built forts in the living room and called them palaces. We said, I love you out loud, like it was a currency we were investing in ourselves, instead of spending on others' crises. And now, if you're hearing this, if you've ever been treated like an ATM, a doormat, or the punchline to someone else's joke, listen to me. You are allowed to stop. You are allowed to protect yourself and the people you love. You don't owe your silence to people who mistake it for permission. Choose yourself, choose your peace, and choose the ones who deserve to stand beside you. If you want more stories like this, raw, honest, and real, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and share your own story in the comments. Together, we'll build a place where strength isn't silence. It's clarity, it's protection, and it's love.